So if you know me, you know I like to do a lot of projects. One of my projects I've done a few things on is this boat. It's an antique 1952 Larson rowboat with some wood trim on there. The last thing I did on this was install these LED lights all around the underside rim, which turned out pretty cool. You can turn them like any color, whatever. Redid the varnish on this wood up here. But the latest thing I got going on is my buddy and I, Derek, we go fishing this a lot, and there used to be a middle bench right here that went across. We took that out because we wanted a little more room when we're fishing to stand up and cast and whatever. And then we were thinking what we could do with these brackets that are left over, and we came up with the idea of maybe making some type of cup holder and rod holder thing. So I have a bunch of this extra lumber from other projects that I build, and I'm going to use this to make that. So I'm going to clamp this in place here, and the first thing I want to do is kind of round off these corners. Then while it's still clamped in place, we're going to go underneath and mark the hole locations. Then we'll get our jigsaw out and do a little cutting. Next, I need to drill these holes, and to do that I'm going to use a piece of scrap wood to put behind it. That way when I drill it, the wood won't splinter out on the back side. So I got my holes drilled. Now I just need to clean it up a little bit with a sander. Now there's going to be a hole cut through this because it is going to be a cup holder, and I needed something that I could attach to have a bottom for it. So I went to Home Depot to look around, see what I could find. I found this pipe end that I will somehow attach to the bottom of it after I cut a hole. And then I also found this stainless steel hardware to attach it to the bracket. When this is all in place and secure, it's not going to be that strong because it's really only attached to that thin bracket. So I need to come up with some sort of way to strengthen that. And what I'm going to do is use these cut ends that came off of the outsides, and I'm going to flip them this way and attach them underneath to make a brace, but I need to modify them to contour the side of the boat. So I'll hold this piece tight to the underside of this, and then I'll use my fingers as this kind of an even space between the side of the boat and the wood to trace this line that will follow the contour. Now we'll come back to the jigsaw and get these all cut out. I got the contours looking pretty good on those pieces, but the ends of it kind of protrude a little bit past it, so I'm going to use a pencil and just kind of mark a line right along that radius to trim that off. Now we have our brackets all done. They should fit nicely underneath here now. So we know where to place it when we glue it up and attach it. We'll put it in place and just trace with the pencil where it goes. While it's clamped in place, we want to take the bottom to our cup holder and put that where it's going to go and trace around that as well. To attach my support brackets after gluing it, I got these two different sizes of trim head screws, and what I need to do is pre-drill for them. So I go from the underside, then I'll mark the spots where I'll need to pre-drill it. I'll apply a little wood glue to the contact point before I fasten it with the screws. I'll place the support and just kind of hold it in place with my hand while I drive the screws through. Now the brackets are all fastened, and all we have to do now is wait for the glue to set. Now that the glue's dried, I've taken it inside off the boat to work on installing the cup holder. I need to pre-drill both the wood and the plastic for this screw to go through, but I need the holes to line up perfectly, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. I've put marks in 3 spots evenly spaced around the rim for where I need to drill my holes. And I need to make sure I drill perfectly straight so I don't poke through the sidewall at all. I got my holes all drilled now, and the idea I came up with for transferring the location of these holes onto the wood was to use this construction chalk powder. So I'll just put a little bit into each one of the holes. Then take it to the piece of wood here. And then this is that circle I drew earlier. And I will put it into place. Then flip it over and give it a tap. Now you can see these faint marks of where all of the drill holes need to be. The bottom of the cup holder is obviously a little bit bigger than like a standard can size. So to make it a little more stable while it sits in there, I'm going to cut the hole in the wood with a hole saw, just slightly larger than the size of a can would be. Now I need to find the exact middle of this circle so I know where to place the middle bit of the hole saw. And the way I'm going to do that is by taking a piece of scrap copper that I had and fashioning a little scribing compass out of it, with the points about 2 inches apart from each other. And so all I do now is I take it and I start at each one of these drill points and I just scribe a line into the wood. And then from that we can see where the middle point is going to be. Now we have our hole cut. I had some tape on the back side to help with the split out, which works real nice. Then we'll just clean it up a little bit with some sanding. I'll use a smaller hole saw now to cut out the rod holder. Before I attach the bottom of the cup holder to the wood, I want to finish the wood in this captain's varnish. I've got a couple coats of the varnish done now on this bottom side, and before I varnish over the top, I need to attach the bottom of the cup holder with these fasteners so that when I do varnish over it, it'll cover the screw heads. To make sure my holes are lined up, I'm going to drop down a couple small Allen wrenches into the pre-drilled holes and then put those through the corresponding holes in the cup that were also pre-drilled. And now I know that I can put this fastener through without missing the pre-drilled hole in the cup. I don't really want to see the tops of these black screw heads when it's all done. So what I'm going to do is melt some of this wax-based fill stick into the tops of the screw heads that have been recessed into the wood a little bit. Then use a razor blade to scrape them flat and then sand it. I've got it all sanded down now, and all that's left to do is varnish the top and install it on the boat. All right, the varnish is all dried now. They're looking really good. So I got my stainless steel hardware and washers set up here to get them all put on.